resistors.
What we're facing is a very serious assault on our Second Amendment right.
Every time that we bang the gavel downstairs, I'm concerned about our liberties.
Here he is, folks. Okay, thank you. Liberty! The importance of what we're doing here today cannot be overstated, friends. You know, it's not just our right. Has anybody been watching The Sons of Liberty? It's a great series, right? It's about how our patriots came together to begin the Revolutionary War and all the principles and the things that they engaged in. Part of that was the defense of their families, of the things that they held dear, that were sacred to them. That's perhaps the single most important reason we must stand firm and fight for our Second Amendment rights, because it's about protecting everything we hold dear, friends, everything. And I will tell you, the reason I'm wearing this today, because most of you know me and I don't usually dress like this, because this is what I wore when I was embedded with the Oregon National Guard combat infantry units in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now I'm telling you, the reason I'm doing that is to make a point today. Did anybody catch FBI Director James Comey on the 3rd in a news conference saying that they have active investigations in the United States, in every state, about ISIS, with the exception of Alaska? Did any of you hear that? What does that tell you? It tells you they know the bad guys are here. Who let them in? Well, that's a good question. I spent some time on the southern border, and I can tell you who let them in. Because I've seen it with my own eyes. Friends, the bad guys are here, and if the FBI director is telling us they have active investigations in 49 states, including Oregon, where we had a terrorist training camp in Bly, where we had the Oregon 8, 7 of which are in federal prison right now because they left Oregon to go fight U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. We had the Christmas Day bomber, right, from about 3 years ago. Friends, they're here. ISIS just is not in Syria or Iraq. They're here, friends. They're here. I carry a personal defense weapon because I am committed to defending innocent life. Yours and mine. It's not just my right, it's my duty to defend innocent life. That's why we're doing this. And it is my hope that that's the message that my former colleagues in the House and the Senate will get today as you're here and as you circulate amongst the legislature. My hope is that they'll understand that the bad guys are here, and we have a duty and we have a right to fully expand our Second Amendment rights in any way that we think is proper and correct. It's important, friends. It's important. I have looked in the eyes of evil in Iraq and Afghanistan. I've seen the abject hatred of some of those people towards us. And they hate us just because we're free. Because we believe in the opportunity to carry weapons. We believe in the opportunity of free speech. They don't. I've seen that kind of hatred in their eyes, and I'm telling you, friends, you must remain strong. You must stand up. And you must tell your friends and your neighbors and the people that you love and you care about that you're standing strong for their rights. I have 2 grandsons. I don't get to see them very often. I just saw them yesterday. 3 years old and 1 year old. I want them to have the opportunity to live free in the greatest nation that's been the greatest blessing across the face of the earth that you'd ever know. I want them, and I am committed to standing with you for your Second Amendment rights to make sure that they, my grandchildren, your grandchildren, and future generations will be able to stand against the evil that I've seen. And that is here in America. And one of these days is going to rear its ugly head. So stand firm, friends. Stand committed. Practice, practice, practice. Be ready. Be committed to defend your freedom and defend innocent life. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America.
Tell us, what is Oregon facing today?
Well, what we're facing is a very serious assault by some of my former colleagues in the House and the Senate here in the Oregon legislature on our Second Amendment rights and our ability, as I said in my comments, to defend ourselves and our families. Because there are folks in this building who frankly don't think we really need to do that and think we should just leave it up to law enforcement. And as good as law enforcement is, they can't always get there when you need them.
Sure.
And your opportunity, your right, your duty to defend yourself and others is what we're fighting for today. And I fear that that message is going to be lost largely upon the folks who control this place right now. It's all very political and it's all very agenda driven. And my message to everyone who has an opportunity to watch this is you had better stand up for your Second Amendment rights, because it is what protects your First Amendment right. And our founders discovered that as they began the Revolutionary War and stood firm all of those years in the face of certain defeat to be able to create this nation that we are blessed and privileged to live in today and to have the right to defend our Second Amendment. So I'm just encouraging people, get with it. You know, don't be complacent, because you'll lose your rights if you are.
Now, Bill Post and Kim Thatcher both mentioned that we have friends across the aisle.
We do, actually,
who
yes.
Maybe we can influence, or is there a way for us to find out who those are, the people that maybe we can influence to come our direction?
Well, there is, and that is a great point, Randy, because here's the essence of that. Is that we need to be, those of us who are fierce defenders of the Second Amendment, need to literally be active talking to our legislators, even if it's a legislator that we think might not be as passionately in favor of our Second Amendment rights as we are. Because in that process of talking with them, building relationship with them, then you can figure out who are the people that will be willing to stick by us in defending with their vote and their comments our Second Amendment rights. So it really is up to us, the people, to get to know our legislators and then start talking to them. That's how we can figure out and then circulate amongst ourselves who are the people that we can count on across the ideological aisle in this building that can help us defend our Second Amendment.
Super. Putting aside the Second Amendment, do you see or do you perceive that this legislative body has an agenda in regards to other liberties as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm firmly convinced that not just our Second Amendment rights, but our First Amendment rights, amongst some of the people that I know here, are in danger also. Now, they won't say that, but they'll put in place policies. They'll encourage the governor's office through the bureaucracy, can put in place policies that discourage free speech.
Yeah.
Search and seizure, okay, on this issue of Second Amendment, expanding government's power to come in and violate our Fifth Amendment rights on search and seizure. Those things are in jeopardy in this entire process here either overtly in legislation or covertly in administrative rule-making or executive orders done through the governor's office.
How does the layperson or the new activist, let's say, go about finding out what are those push-button items that they need to focus on? So in other words, what are the resources that are available to us to know how to read through all the legal speak and know what bills are going to directly remove
There's some great organizations that can help the average person who maybe is just now waking up to the fact that all of their constitutional rights are in jeopardy. Okay, and here's how you can do that. First of all, be involved with organizations like various organizations that are part of this rally here today on the Second Amendment. Other groups called the Oregon Citizens Lobby, which I am a part of. We meet here at the Capitol every Thursday during the legislative session, only during the session. We're here all day long. And what we do is we teach the average person how to come to this building and how to be effective as a citizen in lobbying for the things they believe in. And it could be anything. It could be pro-life issues, it could be pro-Second Amendment, it could be search and siege, it could be anything. And we can help people, give them the skills and the confidence, because we teach them literally how you go testify in front of a committee, how you go to a legislator's office, make an appointment, how you're respectful to people, how you engage in that process to where you can literally make an impact. When I think back to the first time I ever came here to do that as a citizen, and how I felt so out of place because I had no training, and I was here to testify for a bill, and I sat in the back of the room and listened to the pomp and the circumstance of how you do that, because there is a protocol that you observe under Robert's Rules of Order, how to do these things, and it's not bad. Don't get me wrong, but it is very intimidating. And so that's one of the reasons we work in the Oregon Citizens Lobby, is to give people that confidence. We literally are watching bills that day that are coming through the legislative process, or amendments to bills. And we will write up testimony, and we'll pair someone who has never done it before with someone who has lobbied before or testified in a committee. We'll pair them together, they'll go practice it, and then we'll send them out, and they'll literally start that process of standing up for the things that they believe.
So tell me, is that, first of all, is that party driven?
No,
or
not at all.
Can any party be involved?
Any person can be involved as long as they believe, and the Oregon Citizen Lobby has 5 central principles, and they're all limited government, free markets, personal choice and responsibility. Is it fiscally responsible, and does it promote local control? So a far left person probably wouldn't do very well with us. And they have plenty of organizations that teach them how to go lobby, and that's why we formed the Oregon Citizen Lobby, because lots of lefty groups have been organized in doing this for years. When I was in the legislature here, we would have lefty groups come together, and they would all lobby us on a particular issue. And there would be no one on our side doing the same thing on the limited government, freedom, constitution believing side. So that's why we've started the Oregon Citizen Lobby. We have a great website called OregonCitizensLobby.org. That's plural, citizens, OregonCitizensLobby.org. And we even have a website where someone who maybe live across the state in Ontario, Baker or Klamath or Medford, they can't get here. Great, you can still participate. And here's how you do it. You just go to our website, sign up to join the Oregon Citizens Lobby, and then you can become part of a team that literally learns how to analyze legislation from our viewpoint of these 5 constitutional limited government principles. Okay? So that's the way someone can really contribute, and we need people's participation in that. Because we just don't have enough people to really analyze from our perspective those bills, and enough of those bills that will get passed in the session.
So it's not a matter of we need to pass it before we can read it.
No, it's certainly not. And I can tell you that the more bills that get introduced and get passed here, the harder it is as a legislator to actually read them before you have to vote on them.
Sure.
It gets tougher and tougher, because at the end of the legislative session, you're voting on 50, 60, 70 bills in a day, and you don't have enough time to read those bills. And that's some of the problems that are wrong with our process today, and that's why we at the Oregon Citizen Lobby need citizens to help us analyze those bills, because often we find little things in them, and then we let legislators know, and then the legislators can get involved in trying to stop it, fix it, make it better, whatever they need to do.
Tell me a little bit about the Oregon Liberty Coalition. Oregon
Liberty Coalition is a loose coalition of, for lack of a better term, Tea Party groups, limited government constitution groups. Oath Keepers is part of them. You get Americans for Prosperity, you get the 912 Project Freedom Works, you get Tea Party Patriots, you get unaffiliated groups. Take, for instance, Milton Free Water Tea Party. They're part of our group. So we are an unofficial ad hoc group of liberty-loving people who have formed to protect our liberty in many ways. And so we have a weekly conference call. It normally happens on Mondays during the middle part of the day. Of course, we didn't do it today for the obvious reasons we're here.
Yeah.
But that's so important for like-minded groups to constantly be networking and talking with each other, because again, this is what the left has been doing for years. Now, they're more collectivist in their mindset, so they're used to doing that kind of thing. Those of us in the limited government movement, the Constitution, we're fiercely independent. So it's a little harder for us to take time to be integrated and to be networking and talking with each other, but it's absolutely essential if we're going to protect our liberty.
Tell me about, I'm hearing 912 Tea Party, conservative. Talk to me about libertarians. What can libertarians do, and how can they step into fixing this?
They and the Independent Party of Oregon, which we learned is just going to qualify for major party status, Constitution Party, those are all parties that are a little more aligned with us, certainly than what, say, the Pacific Green Party is, which isn't aligned with us on hardly anything. So what they can do is be a part of these coalitions. And you don't have to be, I mean, we allow political parties to come and be on the call, even though we're all independent. Some of us are 501c3 organizations, so we try to maintain some arm's length there that is appropriate under the law.
Sure.
But they need to be involved. They need to be here as a party. They need to be here working with it, and I'm assuming many of them are that are here today. We've all got to be working together. It's one thing to have a political party and have your ideologies and your candidates, that's fine. But when it comes to our basic liberties, our founding fathers, they didn't care what political party you were a part of. Were you willing to stand up for your liberty? That was that criteria. That's right. So I really encourage all of those groups, political parties who feel this way about liberty, let's work together.
Drew, do you have any questions?
You're doing fine.
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it.